talk about Jet Set Radio. As a game with such an iconic art style, memorable characters, and recognizably catchy music, it's only natural we'd finally get around to looking at this gem from gaming history. Admittedly, most of that time was spent trying to get a playable version, since Sega pulled it from Steam, and the retro achievements for the Dreamcast version look kinda nightmarish, but worry not! The PS3 version should offer us a nice, bite-sized grind with the 9 trophies available. So what are we waiting for? Let's get this short and sweet grind going.
Where the fuck are we? It's a game that came out for the Dreamcast. There's no such thing as a map. Please get off the fucking rail! Pick up the fucking can! Yep. No, this is fine. I hate everything about that. Okay, that's just great. Nothing about this game is well thought out. Crash 4 is better than this. At least that game fucking functions. Yeah. I'm done pretending that we're gonna do this game. It's a dog shit game. 1 out of fucking 10. It doesn't work. It doesn't fucking function well. It looks pretty, but that is objectively unhelpful.
Yeah, no, turns out that was a terrible idea. Let's talk about Ratchet & Clank instead. Having thoroughly given up on Jet Set Radio, we decided to gift ourselves a little present with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, a game we'd been looking for an excuse to play, and this seemed as good a one as any. We wanted a short and sweet little game to cap off the year, so why not come back to our favorite PS2 franchise? We adored our time with the PS2 quadrilogy, seeing the new weapons, enjoying the movement and platforming, and watching the blend between the two develop and improve over the iterations was fantastic. We couldn't get the opportunity to play the PS3 trilogy, but from what we've seen, they look like a fun series to play. And sure, it has been over 5 years since the last Ratchet & Clank game, which was after 7 years of an experimental phase in the franchise, but Rift Apart looks like it's heading back to a more traditional experience that got Insomniac where they are now. So seeing just how rare a new Ratchet & Clank game is to come by, we can't afford to waste one when it does come around. We'll be grinding out all 47 achievements available to make the most out of this experience and become masters of the multiverse. Before we jump in, we'd just like to mention these grinds are done live here and over on Twitch, which you can find the link to along in the VOD archives down below. And hey, while you're down there, why not give the video a like? It goes a long way in helping us and these videos out. But enough of that, we're not waiting any longer to play this game. Let's get to it! So there's one last little thing to mention before we start up the grind, the difficulty we chose to play on. When looking over the achievements, we saw there weren't any trophies tied to the difficulty, and while an effortless walk through every enemy encounter where we never risk dying would be the smart choice for a fast grind, we wanted this to be a fun grind. Having said that, choosing the hardest difficulty for this was not the way to go about that. These difficulties are a classic example of the worst way to go about increasing the difficulty. Enemies take 10 shots, you can barely take 1. But enough of that. Look how fucking awesome that transition from the main menu to opening cutscene was. Drifting down through the dingy and cramped streets, warbots looming overhead, casting oppressive shadows, we get eyes on a familiar Lombax silhouette. After a short tailing, Ratchet nabs this important looking infobot and slips away into a nearby alleyway where he can— wait, Rivet? Who's Rivet? And where the hell is Ratchet? In quite the contrast, Ratchet & Clank are the stars of a parade, celebrating their adventures that have saved the galaxy time and time again. It's even got an interactive section where Ratchet gets to fight a bunch of hired goons as he makes his way through the— oh no wait, no, they're using real bullets! While the duo have been out of the hero business for a while, and therefore making it narratively accurate that we got our ass handed to us multiple times, this is the first reminder the game gave us that playing on the hardest difficulty is a stupid idea. But come on, it's the start of the game and we've only got this piddly little blaster. I'm sure things will change when we've got 7 planet obliterating weapons in our arsenal. With the garrison of goons gracefully given the works, Clank is able to unveil the gift he's been preparing in secret for Ratchet, a fully functioning and redesigned Dimensionator. It's not even a hat anymore. But with such a dangerous and powerful device just floating there, who else should show up to pinch it but Dr. Nefarious? And now he's gone and ruined the parade whilst trying to escape with his prize in hand. Someone should probably alert the sponsors that the event isn't going to end quite how planned. Turns out Nefarious is reviving his old make a universe where the heroes always lose plan, just this time using the Dimensionator. With an infinite number of dimensions out there, there's got to be at least one where that's already a reality. And while he's trying to figure out these awful controls, nice work not labeling the buttons, Clank, Ratchet decides to nip this whole thing in the bud by shooting the device capable of punching holes in reality. Nothing bad could possibly happen by doing that. Well, unless you count multiple tears in reality leading to dimensions splintering together bad, in which case, yes, very bad things can happen. On the plus side though, we can now zip through space with some fancy movement. Honestly, between the opening cutscene transitions, incredible spectacles of the parade, and now this new game mechanic, Insomniac are just showing off. After tracking down and defeating Nefarious, he tries to pull one last desperate trick. If he can't bring the perfect dimension to him, he'll just have to send us there. Oh, well, I guess he's going to the new dimension at least. And while that's one problem solved, with how weak the barrier between dimensions is, the heroes also end up being flung across time and space in another scene of Insomniac showing off just how quickly they can load in all these impressive locations. Eventually, the trio end up finding themselves in a place unknown to any of them. Before Nefarious can gloat over this victory, or Ratchet can whack the smile off his face, the whirring and shuddering of the damaged Dimensionator catches their attention, and the subsequent explosion catches all three of them in the blast. When Nefarious wakes up, he's in his throne room? Damn, he really did manage to send the 3A rift apart. Haha! Cue the title card. Oh, it did cue the title card. Well, okay. As for Ratchet, when he comes to, he's alone with no clue of where he is or where Clank has gone. With only a wanted poster picturing some other Lombax, we're gonna have to go asking around to find some leads. Shortly after arriving in the bazaar of Nefarious City, Ratchet is hurriedly pulled aside and chided for his oblivious and brazen wandering around by this universe's Miss Zircon. Before we can start getting some answers to any of the mounting number of questions we have, a commotion comes barreling through said bazaar. Rivet's running from another squadron of those warbots from earlier, but as she makes a break for her ship, who should Ratchet spy on her back but Clank? Unsurprisingly, that explosion got the attention of a fair few folks, and Rivet was the first to come check it out. What she found was Clank, who'd been crippled in the epicenter of the explosion. Having several questions of her own, she plans to take Clank back to her hideout to get answers. Unable to catch up with the two though, Ratchet can only watch as they fly off. If Ratchet's gonna be able to follow the two, he'll need to procure a royal starship, since anything else which tries to leave gets that. Go find the Phantom somewhere in Club Nefarious is the only tip Miss Zircon can give us, but that's not all Miss Zircon can help with. As our weapons vendor, she's also just got a new item in stock, Mr. Fungi. Though not the most offensive weapon, it is a rather offensive weapon that'll draw enemy attention. Plus it has a trophy tied to throwing out 50 of the buggers, so the sooner we start on that, the better. Now in classic Ratchet and Clank fashion, while we're presented with a very obvious clear path where the main story wants us to go, that doesn't stop us from milling about the place beforehand. Well, we say milling about, but really that was us getting to feel clever for using the photo mode to find our first gold bolt without much effort. One hop, skip and a jump later, and we get our third trophy shiny for picking up the first of the 25 gold bolts. While getting this, we also got a side objective to explore the nearby shipping warehouse. Apparently the Resistance hid a spy bot that way, and since it's a collectible, you can bet we'll be collecting it. These spy bots are a report on each location by Miss Zircon, but they also let us start planning some destruction with a fragmented weapon schematic. If we can get them all, we're sure only good things can happen. Now we're done with the side mission route for that spy bot and gold bolt, it's time for us to continue with one last sweep of the area in case we've missed anything. Which we did! This little pocket dimension. There's more than lint in these, but this one specifically is crammed full of trophies for us. Firstly, we earn Boing for having now jumped on the Big Owl, Clank, and Captain Quark parade balloons while doing this little platforming challenge. The reward for completing said platforming challenge is one of the many cosmetic armors that comes with its own trophy, Sartorial Steel, for collecting our first one. Actually, these aren't just cosmetics. Each one collected gives us a small passive buff like damage reduction from specific enemy types, more melee damage, increasing bolts, that kind of thing. The additional ones given out free to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Ratchet & Clank are purely cosmetic, but putting on any helmet, chest piece, and boots rewards us with Does This Make My Tail Look Big? Whew, goodness, 4 trophies in 3 minutes. That's gotta be a record for us. Now that we're out of stuff to distract us, we finally head down to Club Nefarious to find this Phantom character, who turns out to be Skid? Wait, no, that actually does check out. I mean, a Phantom is just a shadow dude after all. Catching up with him after his hasty retreat out of the club, now that his cover's blown, making another game dev cry with our stupid way of collecting a second gold bolt in the process, we get a moment of calm to talk. Well, less talk and more tutorial on how to use this fancy new glove we're given to temporarily not exist. We can phantom dash through not only the air now, but also those barriers we couldn't deal with before. There's also the option to wall run along these specific walls, which is cool, useful, but pretty much the same as walking on the specific Magnaboot walls. It's probably best not to think too hard about it. Now clear of any pursuers, Ratchet and the Phantom strike a deal. If Ratchet can lend a hand taking control of the propaganda blimp, then the Phantom can assist in Ratchet getting a ship to head to Sargasso. That's the place that Rivet is most likely heading. Just before we do get to the top of the closest tower to procure this propaganda blimp, Miss Zircon pulls us over again, but this time it's to walk us through using all the Raritanium we've picked up to upgrade our weaponry. Please note, it took us till literally the end of the game to notice the chain select option to speed up this process. And yes, watching back the footage of us selecting each upgrade one at a time hurts us to look at too. At least the Nefarious Dayspa gives us plenty of new targets to test these upgrades out on in a nice big distracting fight against wave after wave of deadly robots. We can even get our feet wet using the Phantom Dash as a fancy dodge, along with the rifts for better movement around in a firefight. Oh, and look at this! Having almost exclusively used the starting blaster, we've already gotten it upgraded to rank 5! We've only had it for an hour and a half, but they blow up so fast. Having now upheld our end of the bargain, the Phantom upholds his. This is Glitch, a computer program who supposedly can get us access to a ship out of here. Well, not quite what we had in mind when he said he could help us get a ship. At least it's something. It's not exactly like we can ask him if there's anything else now he's gone to tear this world down from the inside. Silver lining though, heading back towards the terminal Glitch can hack means also seeing Miss Zircon again. And with the level 5 weapon, we can now unlock every upgrade for it. Ooh, there's even a cup holder. Once we're at the access console, Ratchet fills Glitch in on the sitch and we get to try out her minigame. It's a nifty little twin-stick shooter, but one that got rather disorientating very quickly with the wall and ceiling climbing. That said, in just the 2 minutes we've had Glitch, we will demolish all realities in retribution should anything happen to her, starting with whoever gave this program anxiety. Once Glitch is done hacking us a shuttle, Ratchet can head straight to that throne room Nefarious is in. Okay now, nice and slow, no need to make a scene here, just get a ship and get out of here. Clank.
Oh. It goes to scream, smack him in the face. No! 1 planet, 10 achievements, with 21% of the way there.
Good job, Ratchet! Let's hope there won't be any difficulties getting to Sargasso now the entire Nefarious Empire is after you! Actually, speaking of Sargasso, Rivet's already reached home. While on the ride over, Clank has tried to explain the situation, but she's a bit skeptical that there just so happens to be another Lombax who just so happens to have been brought here by another Nefarious. These dimensional dilemmas may be signs of something nefarious going on, but that would be Emperor Nefarious, not Doctor. Their conversation is cut short when Rivet picks up a faint distress signal from her friends, claiming that they're under attack, and thanks to a sudden landing, shall we say, the two will simply have to trek through the swamp acid on foot to reach them. At least on foot till Rivet can corner a Speedle in one of those pocket dimensions. It is worth noting here that we don't actually need to do anything more with these armor pieces now we've got both related trophies. But unlike Frontiers, where getting all of them for the sake of 100% gets us little more than a fancy hat, there's still those passive perk benefits for collecting them. And if we're gonna get some of them, then there's no harm in getting all of them, right? On the topic of things we don't need to do anymore, while picking a very unwise fight against this Grunther, we haphazardly hurled out our 50th Mr. Fungi and nabbed life of the party before helping out the Morts with their goon problem. As it so happens, it's not just a handful of goons for less guys who've ended up in this dimension that are giving the Morts a hard time. There's also one of those giant robotic centipedes looming overhead and a weird purple mess that a few Morts are encased in. They seem to be frozen in time, so I'm sure they won't even notice us sorting out other things first. Like picking up the brand new Ricochet weapon. This little bundle of fun also has a trophy to unlock with its use. If you're able to take out 2 enemies with a single use of the little pinball which pelts into your foes over and over, then you'll score no need for multi-ball. 2 enemies like these hapless goons trying to fight a Grunthor. Honestly, this isn't our favorite weapon to use. With all the waiting around between hits as well as trying to keep an eye or ear out for it on top of dashing and dodging around the fights, it's just too hectic for us. But hey, that's one problem now dealt with, and while we could go head to Rivet's hideout and sort out this other mess later, leaving your friends locked in a timeless dimensional anomaly probably ain't a good look. When Clank gives it the good old scientific analysis poke, he finds his consciousness in a very different place. According to the all-seeing cosmic prophet of interdimensional sector 2255 phase Omega, also known as Gary, this liminal space between dimensions could result in a cascading entropic fissure, turning the dimensions into a formless soup. Something we should probably see if we can avoid happening. So, with a little guidance from Gary, Clank is able to guide his infinite possibilities onto a pathway which will help fix not only this anomaly, but also learn a little more about his own thoughts and feelings. It's basically therapy lemmings. And with the first anomaly repaired, not only does Clank start to figure out a way to repair the dimensional damage, he also now gets to add quantum mechanic to his resume. The trapped Morts seem to be no worse for wear, which is good. Hell, Mort here is just happy to see Rivet was able to get the part they needed to get a new ship all fixed up. Good thing too, what with the condition of the last one. Alright, well that's 2 out of 3 issues dealt with. We've done a good enough job dealing with other people's issues now, so let's resume doing what we came to Sargasso for in the first place. Invading Clank's privacy by forcefully exploring his personal data and seeing if they're really telling the truth. On the way, Sargasso gives us our 5th gold bolt hidden in one of the many nooks and crannies. And just like that, we don't need to collect any of the other 20 gold bolts. Okay, the pocket dimensions and armor pieces were one thing, but the gold bolts? Really? The things that have been in every good Ratchet and Clank game since the first one? What is it with the last 2 games we've grinded and not having to do much to scoop up their trophies? Nevertheless, if we're only going to get a Ratchet and Clank game worth playing every 12 bloody years, we are not squandering it by ignoring 80% of the collectibles. Plus, there are goodies unlocked with each gold bolt you find, like the skill points used to for the older games, so it's not like we're getting nothing for finding them. Getting back to the story, Rivet sees the events that transpired to bring Clank here, learning that he was indeed telling the truth. Clank is able to move past this breach of personal privacy, seeing how Rivet has some big issues with trust and robots and trusting robots. Yeah, the irony isn't lost on anyone here. Oh no, it's the problem that was only affecting other people! Now it's affecting Rivet and is thus of great importance to deal with! The Cicapede was doing exactly what the name would imply and hunting for that stolen infobot. While trying to reclaim it for the magnificent and merciful Emperor, it's actually Clank who gets abducted. Again. Well, Sargasso has been the home of multiple mini-bosses, it's only fitting it'd have an actual boss too. This fight is split into 2 groups of 2 sections. The first and third are a little speedler chase across the swamps till you get to knock the blasted thing out of the sky. When it is grounded, now you get to deal with trying to chip away at this thing's health bar. Reminder again, difficulties where the only change are enemies taking less damage and you taking more are bullshit. But to be fair, this is still only the second boss fight, and it did teach us one very useful lesson. The Negatron Collider is a stupidly good weapon. Aside from being a big f***off laser beam that does noticeable damage to a boss's health bar, it's also pretty generous with ammo refills, and it reminds us of spinning around in circles with the shock cannon in Rack 3. What's not to love? But with our little game of hide and seek-a-beat concluded and Clank rescued, Maud's done with installing that ship part so we can head off whenever we want. But there's still a couple more things here on Sargasso we want to tidy up now. First off, we can head back to Rivet's hideout, which is now sporting a lovely new panoramic view, and whack the TV for Lombax and chill. What's that sparkly teddy bear on the sofa not 3 feet away from the TV that looks so important? That's just a teddy bear to add some world detail, silly. As for what we spent the next half an hour doing on Sargasso, that was us bumbling about trying to get to areas the game very clearly showed us we cannot get to right now. Seriously, there are a lot of large invisible walls in this game. At least all these deaths would respawn the Grunthors a few more times and hand us Extinction Event out of pity, so fine, we'll just come back here later when the game wants us to. Right now, Rivet wants to make amends with Clank by fixing up his communicator. For that, we're headed to the one place she knows she'll be able to get hold of a signal booster, Xerkes. It's an out-of-the-way place which happens to be the watering hole of those who don't want attention of the overbearing Emperor over their shoulder. Oh, and look at that! The coat check room has another of those sparkly teddy bears. Wait, it is a collectible? The first one we picked up just gave us It's So Fluffy. Okay, well, fine. Whenever we head back to Sargasso, we'll just have to go remember to pick that one up too. Once the pair are in Xerkes, we're looking for the pirate extraordinaire Pierre Lefthur. Not only is he likely to have the part we need, but this Rusty Pete looking ass is a pushover if push ever did come to shove. Not in the bar though, Xerkes is a violence-free zone after all. No, the Battleplex run by Zircon Jr. just outside the bar will do nicely to stage our fight for the signal booster. You know, we probably should have seen the cheating coming from the robot pirate, but it's no trouble. Francois here is nice enough to not only be the 30th enemy we defeat with the help of the weird but interesting topiary sprinkler for extreme gardening, but also the final wave of enemies in this little scrap, meaning we also earn victory in the Battleplex challenge. It's such a shame that Pierre suffered a tragic and very untimely sprained ankle, so he couldn't join the fight, but he vows that eventually, and dramatically, he shall have his revenge. Once Rivet gets the signal booster up and running in Clank, the two are able to finally get in contact with Ratchet. While this is a momentous moment of semi-reunion, there's still the whole issue with Nefarious messing around in this dimension on top of the one that's already ruling it. If Ratchet, Clank, and Dr. Nefarious are going to get back to their original dimension, then they'll have to build a new functioning Dimensionator from scratch. Clank remembers that Gary fellow he spoke with mentioned he was situated on Savali. Since he seems to know a thing or two about dimensionality, he might be of some help knowing how to build a new Dimensionator. While Ratchet goes and checks out that lead, Rivet and Clank are gonna head to Blizar Prime, the planet where they'll most likely be able to find phase quartz to power the device. Right after we spend a little more time entertaining the crowds in the Battleplex. Look, it's not procrastination, those extra bolts will help us pick up new weapons. Yes, it did take us almost 20 minutes just to complete the challenge of defeating 25 enemies with only the Enforcer, because for some reason there are f***ing jetpack goons on the stage with limited mobility and we're using a shotgun, but we did it. And with those extra bolts, we're able to get Rivet a full rack with the purchase of the lightning rod. We actually did this before completing all the arena challenges, because we had to upgrade the Enforcer to help with the stupid challenge, but this flowed better for the narrative, so shut up. Just before we set off for Blizar, Mork gives Rivet a shout and says that Mork could use a hand with Trudy. While whatever this Trudy situation is highly unlikely to be related to any of the whole saving the dimensions thing, we did spend a lot of time trying to find everything on Sargasso, so we'll just gambler's fallacy this bitch and double down on it. Oh good, Nefarious figured out the galaxy-wide broadcast system, and he's put a bounty of 3 squillion Nefarious freedom coupons for the capture of the Lombaxes. You know this is all your fault for clocking him earlier, Ratchet. Well, since he knows we're heading to Blizar Prime and Savali, that's just one more reason to head to Sargasso instead. Ratchet is already touching down on Savali though, so let's just hope he can find Gary without too much trouble. Look at that! The first person we run into on the entire planet is Gary! That's about as far as the good luck goes, sadly. The town is currently being liberated from freedom by the invading warbots, which means finding Gary's apprentice in the interdimensional archives isn't really possible. What with it quite literally getting up and walking away. Oh, spoke too soon! The little yellow robot, KT-7461, which fell off the archive's balcony, is the apprentice Gary spoke of. They're very apprehensive about teaming up with Ratchet, but he suggests the two just give it a try, if only temporarily. If all goes bad, then they'll go their separate ways. Right now, though, they both have an invested interest in getting to the archives. But in order to do that, we'll have to do better than just running after it. Which is why Ratchet gets given a pair of hover boots to do just that, since we must go faster to catch up. What's fun here on Savali is we get another reminder of Sonic Frontiers. Savali is a huge open area for a level, making it the perfect training area to get the hang of the hover boots. There's even a bunch of rewards for exploring like these shrines dotted about the place. The Lorbs themselves are some fantastic little world building, but weirdly enough, you only need 3 of them for the achievement might have broken something. But we're not leaving these fun collectibles uncollected. After all, it's something we can do while we work on getting to the archives. To do that, we'll have to head to the 3 other temples around Savali to enlist the help of the local monks, which will more often than not involve freeing them from whatever containment fields they're trapped in. Well, that was the plan. Then this monk was kind enough to mark every shrine's location on our map. So we took the time to go pick these up, this planet's spybot, and the occasional gold bolt instead. Man, this really is starting to feel more like Frontiers. While doing this, we stumbled onto the local hot springs to swipe Max Relax. See, we're still earning trophies, it's not a waste of time. Besides, it's not like we won't stop by the temples close to the shrines and free the trapped monks. We're meticulous, not monstrous. It was a joyous time collecting all 12 Lorbs and seeing the story told through them. Not only are there a bunch of winks to other PlayStation titles, but also fun lore tidbits like learning why the Dimensionator ended up as a hat, or seeing how the Lombax species ended up spreading out across the dimensions, or the impact of going into hiding from the Cragmites. This does also mean the earlier comment about Rivet being Ratchet's dimensional counterpart is completely bogus with Lombax's hopping dimensions, but at least that stops shippers having to worry about if this is technically self-cessed. Conveniently, the last Lorb was located right next to the start of the path to Temple to Badlands. And even better, before racing up along the crumbling path to the summit, we found the Savali Krager Bear, totally on purpose. Looks like our crash for trauma Experience has helped us sniff out these secrets. Unfortunately, interacting with the last terminal to free the monks of Temple to Badlands would risk exposing KT-7461 to the Zeta virus infecting it, but it's a good thing we've got just the antivirus to go in and flush it out. Plus, getting to see Glitch gain a little more self-confidence is so heartwarming. Having rescued all the monks, they can now help grease some dimensional wheels and make a pathway for us to soar onto the archives for Don't You Walk Away From Me. The hectic battle atop the archives was made slightly more tricky since we wanted to make sure we'd squeeze every last drop of XP out of every fight. This resulted in us trying hard not to use any of our level 5 weapons, including our best friend, the large Negatron Collider. Thankfully, this game seems to love crowd control weapons like the Topiary Sprinkler and Mr. Fungi, and there's also the dodging and repositioning tools like the dash and hover boots too. We'd almost say this is akin to boomer shooters like the new Doom games where you just keep firing and moving, but there isn't enough health or ammo refills to go around for that. Inside the archives, we find both the dimensional map and blueprints for building a Dimensionator are still secure. Ratchet gets a little bittersweet seeing these remnants of the Lombax architecture, but doesn't linger on it too long, mainly because even if we now know how to build the device, the only place we actually can build the device would be the Kadaro Station Forge, the most secure outpost in the galaxy. It can never be easy, can it? Can't really mope about the situation right now, though. The invasion force are ramping up their attack on the archives. Ratchet wants to get the now nicknamed Kit to safety, but this is her home, and she will protect it with everything she has. Like Clank, she is one of the most deadly warbots in production. But after seeing the destruction she caused to the rebellion while on patrol one night, she defected, sealing herself in isolation within the archives of Savali, never wanting to cause that pain to anyone else again. Ratchet, ever the kind soul though, gently reminds Kit of their promise from the outset. If this mission went poorly, then they'd split. But Kit does admit that that's not what happened, and is shocked that Ratchet is still more than happy to have her along to help. So it's off to Kadaro Station they go. Once we've double-checked the whole town looking for any collectibles, like we did on Sargasso. Sadly, our efforts turn up nothing. Just like on Sargasso. But at least unlike Sargasso, we only spent 9 minutes doing it and not 30. But since we're already talking about Sargasso, let's see what this Trudy business was all about while Ratchet and Kit make the journey. Trudy's been feeling a little run down, so hasn't been getting much in the way of food lately, which has been worrying to Mort. Yeah, we feel you. We've been there with the bunnies on that one. So if we're gonna perk her back up, we'll go grab a handful of Zerp stones. It's no real trouble, and barely a minute later, we've enough stones for a feeding frenzy. Glad to be able to get you on the mend, Trudy. Mort wouldn't mind having a few more of those stones on hand so something like this doesn't happen again. And in exchange for those additional stones, there's an armor piece up for grabs. Another 15 don't take too much work to scrounge up, but there's another 30 out there we could grab for a spy bot. Damn it, we need that. Fine. Good thing that around now, not only does Rivet remember that she also has a pair of hover boots on, but Trudy's feeling back to her old self again and is more than happy to fly us around the place to look for those stones. The flying when compared to the hover boots or even the Speedler is a bit shit. All the controls are on the right stick, which means trying to look around and control Trudy is a bit of a pain in the balls to do. Also, here's one tip for you. When you find some stones that you can't get, even with Trudy, go and find some other ones first. She'll start spitting up flaming rocks once you get 45 out of the 60 buggering things, but nowhere in the game does it tell you that until you've found them. Yeah, at least it means getting the last 15 stones takes like 2 minutes tops before we're back at the Gelatonium factory for our Spybot reward and the news that Trudy's been feeling under the weather because she's eating for 2 now. Oh, congratulations, Trudy. Also, we sheepishly go pick up that stupid Krieger bear we missed in the hideout, so we are finally done with Sargasso. Now we can head to Blizzard Prime without any distractions. Hopefully this half-an-hour detour won't be too much of an issue. Well, shit. Right off the bat, we'll preface that Blizzard Prime and Cordelian are 2 places where we were following a very strict guide. Across both planets, there are 30 large Blizon crystals which we need to hit. However, one of these is technically optional. The issue arises with this when it comes to the trophy where you need to hit every Blizon crystal on Blizzard and Cordelian. There is mention of a patch which dropped the number down from 30 to 29 to account for this optional crystal, but we didn't know which one was optional, and there was no way we planned on taking any chances here. As you've seen, hitting the large Blizon crystal ends up transporting us across dimensions to an alternate version of Blizar, which we'll refer to now as Blizar Hole. Kind of a good thing it works like this, since that means despite how inoperable the mining drill on Rivet's Blizar is, we can just use Blizar Hole's drill instead. We do happen upon one person still hanging around on Broken Blizar, but they're rambling in cryptic half-sentences over what happened. When they learn there's another Blizar still intact though, they rush off in a mad ramble-scramble. This place was a little sluggish to go through. Having to constantly check over at a guide every minute or two for 30 crystals will do that. But it did end up working out for us, since we were standing right in front of the Krager Bear on this planet by pure chance. It's nice not to have to worry about one of those later. Ooh, and speaking of finding things, Chef Tulio over on Whole Blizar is late back from her ingredient hunt, and hungry miners are not happy miners. So it would be appreciated if we could go find her before the miners riot, or worse, unionize. The good news is Tulio is perfectly safe and unharmed. The reason for her delay back is the artistic suffering of her culinary creation conundrum. She has all the equipment and gear required for her to gather the honey for the dishes she has in mind, but the local fauna won't exactly be pleased with her doing so. If we were to protect the vacusuck while she monitors the honey level, that would be perfect! So for the next few minutes we defeat wave after wave of enemies trying to break the pump while Tulio extracts her creative juices and the honey for a sweet, sweet victory. She even sweetens the deal for us with this random junk she found out here. Great. Oh, it's a spy bot. Never mind. Thank you. With a unionized workforce disaster averted, we get a meeting with the chief engineer here who might be going a little space crazy. She's been hearing voices wherever the purple is. Right. She is approaching this scientifically though. She's deployed several of her science bots who are now analyzing around the drill site to determine if the place is haunted or not. However, she won't go out and collect the data until she knows if it's safe or not. Think I'm starting to see the problem here. When we go and locate the first of these bots, Bob here seems to have picked up on some kind of audio transmission. It sounds like the chief engineer on Broken Blizar has been sending out a message to anyone who'll listen. It's hard to decipher the garbled mess, but it's definitely a warning of some kind. Science bot Jim and Sam can help triangulate this message, but also confirm, thanks to their findings, that the drill site is not haunted, so we can go ahead and start up the drill. Right after Clank patches up the new dimensional anomaly that's cropped up. We do get to see Gary again, who lets Clank know he met Ratchet in person on Savali. While the puzzles are getting a bit more complex, it's less so that they're more difficult and more so that you'll need to get more orbs and have more possible options for an order of operations. We get why the puzzle complexity has been toned down, but man, those Crack in Time puzzles were our favorites to piece together. Having been diligently following that guide for the last hour, this upcoming section looked like it was the part where all the trouble with this trophy seems to stem from. It's a big grind rail set piece where one of the parts has two different pathways, each containing a Blizon crystal. To follow the path to the end, you'd only need to hit one of these. Since we were being cautious, we made sure to hit both of them before we moved on. Hell, we could even double check the video guide total with the Steam tracker total. See? 22 out of 22. Wait, why is Steam saying we've only hit 19? That doesn't seem right, but it should be the most accurate count, since it's directly linked to the game and all. Fine, whatever. It's a good thing we made a backup save, since we were being extra careful about that, and the Steam tracker just reset to 0. Okay, let's just hope the game keeps count properly, even if Steam won't. After reaching the drill platform again, we go ahead and start up the mining process to get some phase quartz by turning the drill on. Oh, and the chief engineer has managed to unscramble that message from the other dimension.
Turn on the drill.
Oh, shit.
The rift's damaged.
Oh, shit.
Drill destroyed our
Uh-oh.
You couldn't have said that like 5 seconds earlier. Right, one thing at a time. First, we need to drill just long enough for us to collect the quartz and the trophy. This crystal is my thing. It is the entire reason we're here, after all. Now, we can worry about making sure Whole Blizar doesn't end up as Broken Blizar 2. Simply turning the drill off is out of the question while it's updating a driver, so the best thing to do is to hit the drill hard enough to unalign the beam and stop it from blowing up the planet. The Goonsville dropship can serve that purpose nicely, and while it does work, in the process, the phase quartz we worked so hard to collect gets shattered. Rivet's not out of hope yet, though. The Morts used to tell stories of someone on Torrent 4 who could fix anything. The Fixer. Bit on the nose with the name, but it's the best shot we've got right now. As for Ratchet and Kit at Kadaro Station, it looks like not only is security tight, but it's actually even tighter than usual. Oh, great. Probably has something to do with the now 27 squidjillion Neferabuck bounty on the Lombax heads. At least things can only get better though, and look, there's Blizon here too. That'll make getting into the forge a doddle. We would say that in the worst case, we could just use the alternate dimensions forge, but looking around, this place barely seems held together, so it's unlikely the forge is still functioning. The fact we'll spend as little time as possible in the creepy derelict abandoned station is purely coincidental. Don't get me wrong, Somewhere in Alien Isolation are great games, but we came here for a fun action platformer, not a horror game. Jesus fucking Christ! Can you not, Insomniac? Glad this crazy robot is the friendly, helpful kind of crazy, and not the I'm gonna wear your skin crazy. Oh goody! Junkbot isn't the only thing lurking down in these dark corridors. Starting to see why this place is abandoned. And if not just to tie this place up in a nice little bow, Junkbot remarks that Juice, as they affectionately call them, is in a playful mood. Translation, Juice is actively chasing us through the facility. Please tell me they can't chase us through dimensions. After a little quick thinking from first-class interior decorator Kit, she and her steed are granted access to the forge. Okay, act casual. Walk up to the forge, upload the schematics, make the Dimensionator, then leave. Yeah, no, blowing up the whole forge by pushing the very clearly marked incorrect button isn't part of that plan, Ratchet. Oh. So with the choice of dimension swarming with warbots trying to destroy us and a broken forge, and a dimension with a single lurking horror and a maybe not so broken forge, it's not exactly a great choice, but look on the bright side, at least we aren't in immediate danger here. Plus, according to Junkbot, the forge here isn't broken, it's just unpowered. Once Glitch clears out the Zeta virus who leaves her with an ominous threat, all we've got to do is start this place up again, which just means trying to sneak on through the lab past Juice. We can either find a power source down here or a way back to the nice dimension where it's just endless ways of deadly robots hunting us. Actually, new idea. Why don't we just take this dimension's power source and bung it in the abandoned facility? Juice? That's the power source? The name was a pun this whole time? With a helping hand from this Juice after freeing them, we clear a path through security to one final Blizon crystal. And if we've done everything right, this should be the final one we need. Please, please, please. Oh, thank fuck we got Shifty character now, or we'd have to do the whole game over to try again. Now back at the abandoned station, other Juice even puts in a good word with regular Juice, so all the tension and stress is taken care of at once. The two not so terrifying creatures restore the forge's power, and Ratchet hits the correct button this time, creating the new Dimensionator, and it's loose as a little commemorative souvenir. Now we can head to Zerky's and wait for Rivet and Clank to show up with the quartz. Over at Torrent 4, Rivet figures that Monoloth Gulch will be the best bet asking the Vullards for details on the Fixer. One explains that yes, the Fixer is here, but he needs fixing. Just like back home, this lot face almost daily bandit raids or pirate skirmishes, and in an attempt to fix that, the Vullards asked if the Fixer could help them, which broke him. For us to attempt to repair the damage done, we'll need to head down to the smelter and pick up one of those hurl shot devices that got recalled recently. Something about inverting spines? Never mind that. We need it, so let's go get it. Plus, this is an easy place to test out our fancy new Cold Snap weapon. It's a very satisfying time watching the blocks of ice slide around before smashing them to bits, and even rewarding, since doing it 5 times earns us Icebreaker. After another long grind rail set piece, we make it to the smelter right in time to witness the latest pirate raid. Curse you, Pierre, and your vow of eventual and dramatic revenge. He's even gone and given the crew shields now, which is bullshit, by the way. Shields aren't allowed for anyone but us. Speaking of shields, our newly upgraded Void Repulsor comes with the ability to catch projectiles and send them right back where they came from. If we can take out 10 enemies by doing that, there's another trophy in it for us. And while that sounds easy enough to do, we have upgraded this thing to have better range in AoE to try and make it usable so we could at least level it up. It is a little annoying that this is the only weapon which needs to be fully leveled in order to get the weapon-specific trophy, but we'll make do. With the acquisition of the hurl shot, it doesn't take us too long to find out why these things got recalled. Yep, that's definitely an inverted spine right there. At least launching ourselves with this thing allows us to land onto one of the pirate ships like we totally planned. Once we get clear of Wee Roger, who kind of just fell off the boat, this should help us get up to the Fixer. Or not. Curse you, stupid petty Pierre. It is kind of neat though that we landed, albeit face first, right back where we started and needed to go. The next fight set piece gives us our third reminder that choosing to play on the hardest difficulty was and is a stupid idea. At least this time we can say our suffering here wasn't due to any lack of skill. No. We were just trying, and failing repeatedly, to get those return projectile kills. Guess this explains why this trophy is the least earned on Steam besides the platinum. Once we scupper the scallywags, all we've got left to do is to try and fix the fixer. Guess the best place to start is with turning him off and back on again, so let's boot him up and see if that works. Nope, definitely not working as intended. Emotionally distraught death robots with giant laser beams. Not a good combination. Time for another grind rail set piece so Rivet can buy Clank enough time to think of something. It's a little bit of a letdown that the revisit to this planet from ACID is 2 on-rail section and 2-ish fighting sections, but it does come with a very nice message about the difference between being disabled and being broken.
Say something, Clank.
I am fixed.
What are you doing?
Improvise.
Haha.
I may be different than I was, but you helped me realize I am still Clank.
Aww.
I am quite relieved.
Aww. I don't think it is Julian. Maybe? No, I think it is.
My eyes to a great many broken things, but
Fair.
being able to fix another, to see that all is not lost.
Aww. Okay.
How can I ever repay you both?
Can you fix this?
No, it's broken! It makes sense that if the for the fixer to be a robot in that case, because it helps, like, it's very much like the logical fallacy, which I know humans fall into as well. Aww.
Gift of hope. It should be I who is thanking you.
Aww.
Glad all that therapy lemmings has given Clank enough experience to be an emotional support robot. I mean, hey, it's another thing to add to the resume. Now, while we do have everything we need to build the Dimensionator, you know we're not leaving right away, and instead we're going to do a quick once-over this place just in case we've missed anything. Mainly it was to see if now things had calmed down, we could try and farm up some more of those Void Repulsor kills. According to the Steam tracker, we're sat at 7 out of 10, but you remember how good the tracker is the last time we looked at it, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But we've put off this meeting for long enough. It's time to head to Xerxes. The meeting of the two pairs is a little awkward, but still sweet. And now we've got the new working Dimensionator, all we need to do is to find Nefarious and we can send everyone back where they belong. Oh sweet, he's here too. Oh shit, he's here too. Wait, hang on. Weapons aren't allowed in the bar, what the f***? Since Ratchet's fought Nefarious so many times already, it's only fair that Rivet get a crack at it this time. It is her dimension after all. And hey, we started the game fighting Nefarious, so it's only right we end it with a fight against him too.
It's so poetic.
Plus, with the Dimensionator in hand, it's another chance for Insomniac to show off again. Admittedly, it wasn't quite as seamless as the first time, and trying to hit the skinny twat wasn't the easiest thing for us to do. Stupid aiming on a controller. But there were a couple more weapons we got fully upgraded throughout the fight. Now that Nefarious has been defeated, we can send him home with Ratchet and Clank. Ooh, rough landing there, buddies. Oh, fuck. Emperor Nefarious is here. The Nefarious who conquered this entire galaxy, crushed civilizations under his boot, burned cultures to the ground. All because he's 6 foot in stature and British. Actually, it all makes sense now. With his incredible entrance and lasting impression made, Emperor Nefarious leaves on a high note for a home game fight. Gotta hand it to him. Guy knows his theatrics. Now, the only place a home game could mean is Sargasso, and if our home is under threat, Rivet is going without question. While Ratchet offers to lend a hand, Rivet proposes the two split up. Captain Quantum is the last name to cross off the Emperor's hit list, so while he's busy trying to burn Sargasso, Ratchet can find Pierre and learn where Quantum is. Even with the dimension warping device, the Emperor can't be in 2 places at once. Okay, so the game did just stress how time-sensitive and urgent this whole the Emperor is attacking Sargasso situation is, but the Battleplex does have a new tournament for us to do, and we remember there's the jukebox in the corner we could mess with for Hey Lombax DJ. We even scored the trophy Just Stay Down for our 30th objective Trooper Head kill while going through the new challenges that only took us 20 minutes. Besides, there's already been one planet blown up in this story. To blow up a second planet would be silly. Sitrep, Nefarious is trying to blow up the planet. The Morts are trying to mount a defense, but the Seekapede they've been tinkering with has wound up stuck in another dimensional anomaly. Looks like it's up to Kit to fix this one after we can blast open a path there. Despite her never having done this before, Kit's had plenty of training, so she can still get this mess sorted out in no time. Now thanks to that, the Morts can really start to fight back. Hey, even Trudy's here to lend a hand. Oh god, we're gonna have to fly about on Trudy again, aren't we? At least this time it's not too bad to control. All we've got to do is take out the smaller ships that are trying to explode Sargasso's core. Lobbing a few explosives should take down the cheating bastard shields, then blowing up each cruiser's power core is easy. Doing so packs up this invasion force nicely to return to sender. Not that we're allowed any kind of victory. Emperor Nefarious emerges and rather than goad or gloat, just throws Rivet into the exposition dimension. Luckily, Rivet still has her means for opening these spaces, but the quiet time does let her exposit just how she lost her arm. While trying to sneak onto one of Nefarious's bases, she didn't notice one of the patrolling warbots and wasn't able to escape fast enough. She should have been captured or worse, but it just stopped. It's a familiar sounding story. Oh, the exit's just up ahead. That's enough backstory for now. And hey, the Emperor thinks Rivet's been dealt with, so she can lay low at Xerxes while Ratchet explores Ardolis. The two can tell they must be getting close when they start picking up the pirate radio announcements. Sadly, the amusement park will be closed today for the execution of Pierre Lefeur. As it turns out, commanding your own men to open fire on your own ship goes against Article 4 of the Pirate Code. God fucking damn it, Pierre! Let's try and look on the bright side. That means it should be obvious where Pierre is. And even better, this fight against wave after wave of enemies just after the Pirates of the Caribbean reference is wide enough for us to finish farming the projectile kills we needed for return policy. Honestly not sure which one of these it was that popped the trophy, but it sure was one of them. Oh wonderful! We're right outside from where Pierre's execution is happening. While dangling him upside down by the ankle doesn't do anything on account of being a robot pirate, dangling him upside down by the ankle over the waters where Bubbles resides will. So we've got to put a stop to that. Looking back at it, the hectic and target packed engagement probably wasn't the place to try and pick up headshots with our new sniper rifle. Look, it was for a trophy, alright? After rescuing Pierre, he points us in the direction of Skull Mountain, where we can take on the Pirate Trials. If we conquer those, that'll let us meet with Captain Quantum. Also, since he's in a generous mood, he even lets us know that something shiny was being taken up to the pub. Oh, Pierre, you know us so well. Of course, we're not doing either of those options right now. Up first is our own brand of trying to cheese trophies. We suck at aiming at the best of times already, so 20 headshot kills would be a nightmare for us. Throw on doing it with a controller and how insane these fights can get, and it's downright impossible for us. So instead, we're just going to use these 3 unmoving and respawnable enemies to farm those 20 headshots. Important to note, it is 20 headshot kills that you have to get, but this is all you got to do to pick up Hole Puncher. Was this the fastest method? Probably not, but it was certainly the easiest. Now about that shiny loot in the back of the pub. Think something might be broken here. First the second wave of enemies didn't spawn in earlier, and now this. Let's just blame it on how increasingly unstable the dimensions are becoming and pick up the map-o-matic. With this handy-dandy gadget, now every collectible shows up on the map for us to go grab. Except the Krager Bears, which happen to be one of the only 2 collectibles we still need for the trophies. Heading over to the Skull Mountain that Pierre pointed us to, we learn that the Pirate Trials are a theme park ride? Wait, we thought those were closed today for the execution. Good thing nobody told the ride operator and we can get our quest for booty on. While our fight against the mighty Snoojacks was a tad anticlimactic, the glitch mission for a gold bolt does end with the Master Virus warning us that they shall meet face to face soon. But we can't worry about ominous and threatening messages, not when we finish the Pirate Trials and can finally talk like a pirate without it feeling like cultural appropriation. Also, getting an audience with Captain Quantum, that's important too. Aside from us instantly realizing he's not a robot but this universe is Captain Quark, that bucket isn't just a disguise. Years ago, he bugged the Emperor and could now get detailed information on whatever he was up to stay one step ahead. Damn, that bucket could be the most important bucket in the universe. Might have forgotten that bucket is also technically the head of the leader of the robot pirates, who now think we've dismantled Quantum, even though he's right there. Whoops, Quantum, get us out of here. After escaping the fleet of angry robot pirates, now with no crew, no job, and a dimensional collapse imminent, a job change is certainly in order for Quantum. Maybe he could be someone like Quark, somebody who could be a hero. A sold-out, manipulative, backstabbing, vain hero, yes, but one who's always tried to do the right thing in the end. Wait, this is a nice, wholesome moment. We aren't allowed those in this game. Right on cue, Emperor Nefarious shows up and sinks our vessel down into Zordon Prison, giving Quantum the perfect chance to try out this hero stuff. Then we got rated R for finishing Ardolis. What? We couldn't think of a good way to write it into the script. Come on, it's the first of the 374 trophies we've got we couldn't. Give me a break. So before we go back to Xerxes, now that we've got the Map-O-Matic, we can finally clean up Savali's collectibles. We didn't want to say it's been eating us up inside, but it has. But the only thing here is a handful of Raritanium and a pocket dimension. With one gold bolt still missing, it looks like we'll be coming back here some other time, but okay, we're here now, so let's just clean up what we can. Stupid, clever use of reusing planets. It's on our way back to Xerxes, we get another of those galaxy-wide broadcasts from the Emperor.
My people, I did it.
Yes.
At long last, the pirates are vanquished.
Good job.
The resistance is broken. And
Good
this
job.
galaxy is finally mine.
Well, that's only a galaxy. You need the entire universe. I mean... Well...
The joy, the bliss.
Well, I mean, you didn't really finish him off yourself, did you?
Why
You kind of ruined it yourself.
different?
Because you equated achieved it. Life is meaningless.
Possibly know about success.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
I haven't really won yet.
Ah.
So many other dimensions waiting to be conquered.
Good luck
Alright.
finding them. It took me years just to figure out the coordinates.
How did
for
you
this
manage
one.
that?
You forgot the first rule of road tripping.
Don't piss in the same bottle.
Always bring a map.
Oh, always bring a map. Yes, yes. Uh-oh.
He's going to Savali.
Damn it, I was just there! Damn it, I was just there! I was just there!
In the, let's say 2 minutes since we left, not only has a huge fleet of robots swarmed the planet and toppled the archives, but with the overuse of the Dimensionator, now bone goons are rising from the ground. It really can't ever be easy, can it? With no signs of the dimensional map in the archives, Rivet and Kit board the flagship attempting to get it back. Instead, they find Gary, who'd been captured after he'd hidden the map inside an anomaly. That explains why the dimensions are falling apart so violently. Nefarious is ripping open the universe trying to find that map. The anomaly is tucked away down in the catacombs, with our only option to get there being pretty direct, using the excavation tools to blast open a hole. And holy finally! The last gold bolt on Savali's down here too. One last door for Glitch to open means it's also time for Glitch to meet this master virus. It may have evolved through the many encounters with Glitch, but Glitch, finds a way and defeats them once and for all. It's good to get that gold bolt finally. Down in the catacombs, we find that anomaly in this suspiciously boss arena-shaped room. Before Clank can get to fixing the anomaly and thus getting us the dimensional map, the monks will need to patch up the rifts, causing those bone goons to show up. Good thing we're not somewhere a horde of those would naturally be. In the catacombs. The joke is that's where dead things are mostly found. And of course, the suspiciously boss-shaped room is where we get to not only take on a horde of bone goons, but a bone grunthor too! Just to remind us again that playing on the hardest difficulty for the first playthrough is not and was not a good idea. Wait, we're 14 hours into the game now. We've got an arsenal of weaponry even a genocidal state would be jealous of. We've got 8 times as much health as the start of the game. We've even got all those additional armor bonuses. Has the game never been bullshitting us? Are we just bad? Maybe it's just the new mentality the game has towards weapons and fights. It wants you to throw out every single deployable weapon you've got, then AoE whatever is still trying to destroy you. In the older games, you'd get ammo for the weapons you were using, so it made sense to just use one weapon. Now, since the ammo just gives you whatever the hell it feels like anyway, which is very stupid, you may as well just use anything and everything. Conveniently, right after we finish up the last of the enemies in the makeshift arena, the monks get that rift, bringing them all here closed up. All that's left to do now is to close the anomaly, grab the map, and get the hell off Savali. Before Emperor Nefarious shows up, ideally. No pressure with these puzzles, Clank. Oh, and if you could also figure out how to stop a cascading universal collapse across every dimension, that'd be just swell. Thanks to the most challenging puzzles yet, Clank is able to guide his possibilities through to his enlightenment. It all makes sense, and it can all be repaired. And with the dimensional map now safe in hand, everything is gonna be absolutely fucked. Rivet and Kit finally escape the flagship, but are only in time to watch as Ratchet and Clank are plunged into Zordoom prison. Kit, seeing an opportunity, plans to stop Nefarious with everything she has, even if it means losing her second friend in the process. She does catch the Emperor off guard and disarm him, but before she can stop the cowering and scared robot, Dr. Nefarious sends her on a one-way trip to Zordoom too. Rather than finish off the isolated and emotionally broken Rivet, she's left alone in this pit while the Nefarious leave to begin a new conquest. No bones about it, this whole thing has gone right tits up. The flight to Zordoom is a familiar but somber flight for Rivet. Not her first time she's done a jailbreak, but this time there's a lot more riding on it. Let's just hope the security of the most secure prison in the galaxy is busy with their mandated Praise the Emperor hour. If not, I'm not sure we have enough ammo to get through this place. Luckily for us, as if to answer our prayer, or perhaps just point and laugh at our problems, the 23rd gold bolt unlocks infinite health! You know, if we wanted this, we'd have just played on the easiest difficulty where you can't die in combat, but thanks anyway. Moving further into the perimeter, Rivet surmises everyone should still be held in processing. It wasn't that long since everyone got captured after all. That's the one benefit of a fascist dictator arresting everyone who doesn't agree completely with their deluded expectations. The bureaucratic red tape means it takes forever to get anything done. This also means that everyone who's against the Emperor is all located in the same place. That gives us an idea. Clank is the first friend we find while crawling through the air vents, but freeing him also frees Quantum, the Phantom, all the goons for Leslot, and even a couple platoons of robot pirates. Ratchet and Kit seem to have already been moved further in, but getting there shouldn't be a problem. Methinks it's time for a prison riot! Oh hey, look at that! The penultimate gold bolt gives us infinite ammo! Yes, we are going to be using this. Not just because the ammo crate shoots out completely random ammo for a weapon we aren't using, but because it means we can just use the last handful of weapons we have to get to level 5. Finding the cell Ratchet and Kit are in, it looks like the only way to depower their cell will be to take out power for the whole block. I mean, we've already started one prison riot, might as well make a second one. Oh, for fuck's sake, what do you mean they're in a VIP cell so the power's still on? Can never be easy, can it? Alright, fine. We'll just chase them down and go find the final gold bolt while we do so. And with all 25 now in our pocket, not only do we get a shiny gold aesthetic to all our weapons, but also the trophy. Oh, yeah, you don't get a trophy for finding them all. Let's just go rescue Ratchet already. When we finally do chase down the cell, we've managed to destroy not only most of Zordoom, but whatever tolerance the Emperor's assistant had for trying to stay in his good books and quits. As the person here with the most experience and knowledge of the place, we suppose that means Rivet can say, I'm the warden now. While the reunion between Ratchet and Clank is simple enough, Rivet and Kit's goes a bit rougher. Kit saw how Rivet looked at her before she was captured and believes she was validated in her belief that she should be alone. Rivet's outburst, thinking she's just running away, ends up with the two lashing out one last time before they go their separate ways. Kit back to Savali to continue her self-imposed isolation, and Rivet to Xerxes to plan some way to stop the Emperor's conquest. At this point, Xerxes seems to have become the unofficial base of operations to the Resistance. I mean, the Morts, Pirates, even Phantom and Quantum are here. In fact, Quantum might have cooked up a plan for the Emperor already. Hold on about that. That sounds like final mission territories. Before we pass the point of no return, we've got a few collectibles to go clean up. Firstly are the 4 missing Krager bears. We've missed the bear on one of the stall counters in the Bazaar of Nefarious City, the bear half buried in the snow outside the abandoned Kadaro station, the bear sat at the end of the pirate trials on Odolus, and finally, the bear still awaiting processing in Zordoom prison. While we wouldn't say it was unbearably awesome, it was actually kind of nice getting to look around these beautifully detailed environments rather than just following the map-o-matic marker. Next up is the last of Zircon Jr.'s challenges in the Gold Cup. While this does offer us a good amount of bolts and our penultimate spybot, the real reason for doing this is to score the last trophy tied to the Battleplex with Can't Stop Me. Wait, the penultimate spybot? Well, according to the map, there should still be one at Xerxes, but there's nothing here on the map. Oh my fucking god! That's so That's... You know what, game? You know what, game? I'll give it to you. Having picked up all 10 parts of the schematic, the next time we see Miss Zircon, she hands us our reward, the Rhino 8. With this weapon of interdimensional destruction in our arsenal, you better believe we aim to misbehave with it. Speaking of that arsenal, we do have everything we need to move on to the final mission, but finishing the game with weapons that aren't fully leveled feels wrong. But that's where the battle place gives us the perfect chance to farm. The final challenge of fighting 2 bosses back to back offer us a bountiful amount of weapon XP. And not that this farming needed a sweetener, but each time we do complete this challenge, we're given a bunch of Raritanian to upgrade those weapons even further. Yes, this did mean having to defeat both Skolo and Sue the undead Grunthor with only the terrible Bombardier, but thanks to unlimited ammo and infinite health, it was only a slow and painful inevitability rather than a slow and painful struggle. Now, about that plan Quantum has to find the Emperor.
Let's do this thing.
We have to draw him out. So I was thinking I'd disguise myself as a robot, but with a really big...
Do you know what that
Okay.
is? The slow inevitability of death.
What's that sound?
It's me.
Uh-huh.
Winning.
Oh shit, he's going everywhere.
I think
He's going after
everyone deserves
everything.
subjugation.
Oh shh. Okay, right.
Good doctor who inspired
How
this
is that
journey
staying in the
first place
glass anti-gravity stuff?
by invading his home dimension personally.
What?
My
Oh,
first Megalopolis.
Uh-oh.
As I like to think of it, new nefarious city.
Oh shit. He's invading home! Even fucking even Dr. Nefarious was like, oh shit, no, this is mine.
Right, so forget the plan. The objective is just stop Emperor Nefarious and the invasion force. By the time we make it back home, the Emperor is reliving his glory days of subjugating an entire universe, and our little rebellious resistance group is just the excuse he was looking for to put on his new suit. Holy shit, that's a hell of a suit! As the combination of the story and gameplay, you can bet your ass that Insomniac used this boss fight as an excuse to cap things off with every possible sight and sound they could think of. We do feel like making the only area you can damage a giant boss be tiny moving squares is a bit fucking stupid, but then again, falling off a platform because you panned the camera too high is also what we'd call a bit fucking stupid. Also, fun fact, even though these are very clearly monitors on the palms of a giant power suit, these still count as heads and count towards hole puncher. After 6 more minutes of trying to put so much as a scratch on the paint job, Gary and the other monks helped get us a path to really get to the heart of the matter. That being the heart of the power suit, where, mercifully, there's plentiful amounts of ammo to resupply here too. Sure, it's not a huge amount of ammo, which forced us to have to rely on our more lackluster weapons, but our diligence paid off! Upgrading the Bombardier to the Bon Voyage actually came in clutch! Turns out, when you're facing a giant stationary target that has no AoE attacks, it's the perfect weapon to use. Having been thrown to the other side of the city thanks to a very hasty exit, the good news is that now with no suit, it's just the naked Emperor left to deal with.
I will bring in all of my armies, all of my followers.
Aww.
You will bow before me.
Sounds like a fucking rage bait account on Twitter. I will get all of my followers and we will now support you. Yeah, this is not good. However, I will say, if this is all of his army, that gives us a benefit. We take them all out and we win. Also, I think we're missing someone right now. If you're bringing all of your army, that includes all of your warbots, right? Yes! Guess who got a portal? Who said every warbot was on your side?
Cannot run away anymore. I will hold back his army.
Hell yeah. Oh, I'm all here for it.
We're a sucker for moments like this, but we aren't allowed a heartwarming character arc just yet. It's final boss time. The fight against Nefarious earlier would have been good practice, but this wiggly skinny bastard is particularly hard to hit, so we said fuck it. If he wants to fight using dimensional rifts, then fine. 2 can play at that game.
There we go. Where the fuck did he go? Where did Nefarious go? Did I send Where is Nefarious? Where's Nefarious?
And it's not just the Emperor that's gone. Looks like somebody overestimated how many loyalists he made. Oh, forgot he's a sore loser who'd collapse every dimension if it meant everyone loses and not just him. Let's put a stop to that real quick.
Oh! Okay. Oh, where are we sending him? Where are we sending him?
You really thought you had me?
Yeah, kinda. Oh, Bubbles! Oh, you're gonna get very well acquainted. And are nefarious.
We can win this together. What do you know about winning?
Oh, Bubbles. Have a good snack, mate.
I guess we were just too fuzzed, too nefarious for the Emperor to handle. But before any celebrations can get underway, Clank needs to get to work fixing the dimensional instability. Who would have guessed just 2 switches and 4 button presses is all it would take? Now, Rivet and Kit get to have their heartwarming character arc closure, forming a team and friendship sure to last the ages. We'd love to say this is where we've become masters of the multiverse, but there's one last trophy we need to snap up. Thankfully, it's not quite as bad as the HD trilogy on the PS3, demanding we upgrade every weapon to their Max Omega version in challenge mode, but we do need to pop into challenge mode real quick. Here, we can pick up the 2 bonus weapons that have unlocked. The reminder of the awful 2016 movie tie-in weapon, the Pixelizer, and everybody's favorite weapon from the OG trilogy, the Bouncer, baby! Woo! Bouncer Benjamin, stay winning, let's go! Yes, the Bouncer. For only a single bolt each, it might not be much of a fanfare, but after shelling out for both of these for a fully stacked armory, we are now masters of the multiverse. Well, that was a nice way to end off 2025. Certainly a more enjoyable time than Jet Set Radio would have been, that's for sure. Despite our issues with the combat being partly to blame on the difficulty we chose, the mindset change up of throwing out 5 different deployables then blasting away everything else was a change which took us far too long to adapt to. While it does promote using every weapon at your disposal, it always felt at odds with the weapon XP systems. We also found ourselves missing some of the little things from the older games like the gadgets. Sure, there's the hurl shot and the wall running glove, but those are just new looks on things you could already do. That and wishing this game had the classic staple of skill points, it was always just a nice touch. We spent 18 hours on this grind, but those 18 hours were crammed with enjoyable gameplay, a fun story, and beautiful new level designs for Insomniac to show off in. We did have a chip on our shoulder while playing, feeling like this might end up as a tech demo for the PS5, but seeing how the game turned out, Insomniac poured a lot of love and care into their longest running and arguably most beloved franchise. Even if this is just a tech demo, it's an 8.5 out of 10 tech demo. The achievement grind was honestly the easiest we've done so far. Yes, it's also the shortest we've done at just 18 hours, but it was more so the fact that almost everything we did was just a part of the main story. Sure, there are a few weapon-specific achievements that gave us a minor inconvenience, but it wasn't too hard to find a cheese strat to deal with them. It's a 3 out of 10. Be that for better or worse. The hardest achievement comes down to a toss-up, really. Unbearably Awesome is the easy pick, since it involves finding all 9 of the only collectibles that don't show up on the map after you get the Map-O-Matic. But if you really wanted to, you could always follow a guide for them. The other choice is Return Policy, the only weapon-specific achievement that needs an upgraded weapon and then to defeat enemies with the return projectiles rather than the initial blast. Both are certainly worthy of that title, but let us know which you'd consider the hardest. And with that, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you very much to everyone who has found, followed, and stuck around on this video. Do let us know what you'd like to see us play next, and be sure to check down in the description where you can find and follow some more content and entertainment. Until then, we've been Ultrasonic Blur, you nerds have been a fantastic audience, and we shall see you all next time.
I'm everything you're not. Nefarious on top!
Thank you for everything. It's gonna be a little quieter without you.